and CX. And for the same, I would like to introduce Mr. Zenil Dumasya. A versatile marketer brings a digital-first perspective to business strategy and marketing. With expertise in omni-channel marketing, he collaborates with stakeholders to deliver cross-business solutions. Proficient in driving business through digital innovation, he excels in business partnership and transforming engagement in healthcare professional. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Zenil Dumasya, lead customer experience health professional at Pfizer.
Sorry to steal your mic. Thank you so much. Can we please get settled? So yes, firstly, thank you so much Team Gain Skills, Unifor, and the partners who have put together this wonderful Confex. I'm fortunate to get this opportunity to share some of my experiences, and not definitely here to, say what I have done, but also to learn and listen from you how and what do these buzzwords that all of us here from say digital or a CX or a marketing backgrounds or a tech or a digital background are doing here. So hence, I'll also need a clicker. Do you have a clicker, please? Oh, okay. So moving on, I think the first very anecdote that I would like to share on the topic itself was that there was one of these forums that I was invited to talk about omnichannel marketing, right? And that very morning, while I was leaving from the house, my mom asked me, okay, you're dressed up, you're wearing a suit, where are you going, what are you doing? I said, I'm speaking up at a forum on marketing. She said, what's the topic? Now, I wanted to be quite honest, and I just told her I'll speak upon omnichannel marketing. And my mom, not having the same background as me, asked, what is omnichannel marketing? And that is where I really realized that as any customer, one of them being my mom and my own self, how do we really explain and inculcate omnichannel marketing to drive a certain kind of behavior, be it an awareness for our brands or driving businesses through innovations and through various channels. So that's where I thought that today I'll try to be less on the data and the tech and the tool part of it, and more on intuition and the experience that we have had on ground, in hand, first-hand experience. With that, getting all of us on the same context, I think I'll just share some of the stats, some of the slides. One of the Forrester studies says that 1.9 times higher brand awareness and customer satisfaction is achieved when you are an experience-led business and not just a product or a service-led business. Even some of the leaders globally say that if you make the customers happy in a physical world, they might tell 6 people. But if you make them happy in a digital world, they might report it to 6,000 people, right? So that's second on CX. Third is say consumers have the power to choose between competitive brands. So, it doesn't take a minute to switch from a brand A to brand B just because they are not having a great experience. And as good as 55% of customers are willing to pay a premium on actually getting the desired service, desired outcome, desired experience. All of that data and some more stats about the Indian customers would say that definitely customers need a great experience, which is also a no-brainer. So on that note, talking about pharma, the industry which I have been operating in last some years, and that's the conclusion is right up on top saying that pharma currently falls short of meeting HCP and patient experiences. So healthcare professionals today need a lot of customization, they need scientific information, multiple things. But it is quite difficult to actually provide that accurately, right? And some of the stats, some of the numbers, again, just for our context would be 65% of healthcare professionals receive low quality or generic or say one size fits all kind of content, be it information on safety, efficacy, and ours being very regulated an industry, we do not have personal information or data about our customers. We might only have aggregate data. So imagine how else would we try and fulfill their requirements, which might be explicit or tacit. 38% of HCPs are dissatisfied with webinars and websites. Because they might not be able to navigate to the last page or might not check in at all the, offerings that we have. And they might not have that uniform experience. 46% HCPs are dissatisfied with marketing emails. Assume a doctor meets representatives from 35 to 40 brands on an average in a week. And that goes on for a week on week, month on month. It's very difficult to respond to physically and even on emails or on WhatsApp to all the representatives, through all the channels, through various content pieces. And hence, there is some sort of dissatisfaction or a friction that needs to be solved and addressed here. And only 50% of patients who are the actual consumers of some of the products, the drugs that we have, find it difficult to, say that pharmas may not be able to sustain a relationship over a longer period of time. You might see a campaign about some acidity brand and then there is an antacid and you might consume it and that's done. There is no sustained relationship on overall health and wellness for a longer period of time. So these are some of the stats. Of course, I have mentioned the sources at the bottom, and this is not just me, but stats at various levels of Asia or emerging markets or even global. Now, points to ponder would really have some learnings or experiences of mine, where again at one of these prestigious forums, sitting in front of experts like you all, there were real life questions where we say we have various tools, we have various solutions, we have platforms, we have C360, we have data from CRM coming up, and then we have a marketing strategy in place, a digital strategy in place, a CX strategy in place. So the complex ecosystem, how do we really solve it? How do we address a real business problem and make it as simple as possible to go ahead and say, okay, this is the strategy, this will be the outcome, because it's not as straightforward as A plus B equal to C, right? So this is something that we are going to discuss today. The next one is again a query that at one of the forums that came in, okay, how do you really apply omnichannel marketing to deliver a stellar customer experience? So I might not be able to reveal the brands, but I'll definitely present a sample case that I was able to work upon in last couple of years. And third is definitely the future of CX, or maybe it's happening right now and also what's going to happen in future. The first one, OC and CX from a business perspective. And we all know that it all begins with a customer, right? So this is not a versus or a comparison, but this is, mind you, this is, a collaboration of both these kind of approaches. We say omnichannel marketing focuses on the customer, right message to the right, right content to the right customer at right time through the right channels that we have, all of that. But so does customer experience. Imagine these are two teams in an organization. There is an OC marketing team, there is a CX team, which also is aided by digital, BAI, and various functions. They also say focus on customer, we need to retain customers, we need a positive customer satisfaction score, we need a positive NPS, we need less of detractors, all of that. Second, OC team says, okay, we need segmentation, we have various tools, to segment or segmentify our customers and then attract them, engage them, immerse, re-engage, do all of that through the journey. That's what classically marketing is, right? And what does CX say? CX says, okay, we need social listening, we need to know our customers, we need to have a need gap analysis and take certain customer experience actions in order to achieve our objectives. And third, impact. For OC, we can measure impact by saying that, okay, there is channel efficiency that I can measure, there is content efficiency or how much customization am I able to achieve in my journey. And then there is, say, a journey orchestration from, say, channel A to channel B. Where am I losing my customers? Where are they, in my physical versus digital channels and all of that. I can do that with this. And with CX, the impact is really what are my CX drivers? Anything can be a driver, CX driver, right? The relevance of the information that we are providing or the quality or trustworthiness, reputation. Any of this can be a CX driver depending on what problem are you addressing and what customers are you serving. Followed by what's the action plan, how did you execute it, and finally what's the ROI for every penny spent on these kind of actions, how do you get it back? So all in all, what we are trying to say is you need to have a roadmap taking into consideration both of it. So both these teams, as we said, are working hand in hand to figure out a strategy and improvise on the go. That's where the agile functions have come in, where we say that, okay, we'll take it step by step and then improvise on the go. So if I were to simplify this diagram that I've put together here, the larger scenario for pharma specifically would be the customer at the center, HCPs or patients, followed by, all the customer-facing channels in the closer loop, right? These channels can be even physical channels, the reps meeting doctors or the websites or promotions or ads that they would see on doctor network platforms and whatnot. This would have, enhanced channels and tools, the entire OC plan and the content, because this is what a customer is actually seeing. This being supported or this being working in parallel with a lot of other factors, which are, you have a CX program in the organization, you have an entire hierarchy, you have omnichannel strategy and execution teams, then you have, the measurement dashboards that we'll also discuss shortly. And then you have various cross-functional teams, subject matter experts who would consult you on, okay, this is working right, this is not working right. You'll have Excels, dashboards, and reports that all of us almost see it every week or every month, right? So this is a sample case, the second part of the question, which says that, there is a launch brand in pharma, say in the oncology space, that I got a chance to work upon and launch, say, a year and a half back. And then the idea was, because it's already being launched in a competitive market, there are lots of direct, indirect competitors here already present in India. How do you establish that brand? How do you build brand awareness, recall, and how will you build trust in patients and doctors? The key wins or the objective would be to have the trust of the customer, to have a positive impact, really impact positively the patient's lives, and acquisition and retention. How do you then retain? Because it's not a standalone therapy. It's a continuous ongoing therapy. So how do you retain without the customer switching from a brand to another? So that's where a wheel, we call this the omnichannel wheel. We were able to put it right from, various intersections. The slide that we just saw, the basic one, which spoke about omnichannel at one end and the customer experience team at other. How does all of that fall into place when you actually put a roadmap, actually put up a plan together? It says that, while execution, while the action, of course, understand, that can be through surveys, that can be through calculation of CSAT, or know your customer, or social listening, then you execute the plan that you make, constantly measure, monitor, and then improvise. That also means 3 phases. The first phase is the plan phase, which is your strategy, your entire customer understanding, omnichannel insights. Moving to, say, execution, where you have an engagement plan across various, you have an execution map in front of you. For these kind of channels, this is what my engagement plan, this is what my content calendar looks like, all of that. And then you have a content and channel mix. How do I optimize it? How do I create a seamless experience between my digital and physical interfaces? And then the final part is synchronization and measurement. I want all of this to be a cohesive experience and not a standalone experience. So that is where this, on paper, the plan looked something like this. However, when we are all aware that when we execute it really, does it exactly go the way we have planned on paper on day one? I think we all are aware of the answer. To some extent it might, but it's very difficult to really execute a real omnichannel plan. So that's where we realized that our customer-facing colleagues, our sales colleagues, or our business representatives might need some aid, might need a support, and that's where tech comes in. So tech and solutions definitely come in when there is a business need, when there is a customer need. So putting that first, putting the customer at top, we came in with some solutions. However, before I move, the impact of this, of course, it led to a lot of KOL, key opinion leaders, advocacy. Doctors were really happy because they received the best kind of communications, the scientific knowledge, the clinical decision support that they required through the plan that we had. So there was a huge referral network. We had a earlier we had to push our collaterals. Now there is a pull demand. They want to know more about it. So there is a pull. So that's a second qualitative impact. And of course, quantitatively, we could acquire a 35% market share in an already competitive market. So this is what we could gather as an impact. While we saw that one-pager plan, what goes behind it from a CX lens is, of course, all of this, where we have research, where we have inputs from the commercial team, where we have the subject matter experts' inputs, where we have co-creation sessions, brainstorming sessions, how do we work on that strategy? And there are various value drivers. For healthcare professionals, there might be drivers like customization, reputation, support, to support them in their overall clinical decision making. And then there are patient value drivers, build powerful partnerships, refine and improve reach and the overall engagement with patients, and support them in taking active role in their health, right? So how do you then prevent? So all of these, from inputs to the outputs, these are some of the CX actions that we could figure out from the OC plan that we said parallelly. Now, talking of the problem that I said, when it comes to execution on ground on a daily basis, we came up with a solution called Sales Buddy. We all know about the Google Assistants our watches, or the Apple Assistants our watches have. They track the count, they track our blood pressure, and they track multiple heartbeats and multiple parameters. Similarly, we have a sales assistant. Sales assistant would tell them what kind of content was supposed to go on what day, what kind of communications were in store, what kind of meetings need to happen by this day of the month. Imagine in a sales review, if a colleague is sitting at the end of the month and reviewing, okay, these are the lost opportunities, these are the missed opportunities. The month has already passed, right? This is a real-time platform. It will tell you day in and day out, studying behavioral patterns of last 3 months, saying that by this day of the month, so much sales, so much acquisition, so much retention should have happened. Maybe there is a lag of minus 5%. So this is a tool that we deployed, of course, partnering with a couple of platforms out there. At Pfizer, we came up with a Sales Buddy. And then, it of course uses AI to actually create that nudge of all the data that is present, the behavioral science. What is behavioral science in this? Some colleagues might be motivated by competition. If I tell my friend that, hey, you know what, I've been doing 80% sales, I've been meeting all my customers so far, and my colleague might be at 70%, and he's motivated by competition. And he is responding to these nudges and performing better in that manner. So this platform also studies the behavioral pattern. Some people might react to mere targets. They are assigned, they are lagging their targets, and they just want to improvise. They might not react to competitive nudges. So based on the reactions, it also studies the behavior. So that's where AI and behavioral science comes in. And this does help us keep on track on a daily basis with our omnichannel objectives. Which customer, what content, on a daily basis, right? And it also supports their line managers to give a real-time feedback about the entire teams, to the marketing teams as well, that what's happening on ground. Measurement, you might say, how do you measure it? So of course, there are various dashboards that many of the providers here are also using. What we would look at is, say, something like this, where, say, there are multiple windows, a couple of examples of customer overview, channel overview, external platforms, be it social media or be it multiple platforms, are all there in this dashboard, which talks about and addresses question like what percentage of targets are getting reached, interacted, and engaged. That's what in the traditional world we call, overall impressions, engagement, and all of that. And what does our channel mix look like? So addressing all these questions would definitely help us really find some insights out of the data that we have. So that is what we've been doing. How do virtual calls compare to face-to-face call? How does that vary through time? Is something that we do. And the last part of my presentation, which is again something that I have figured out, discussed, and done a little bit of research, which says that data-driven decision-making is going to be there and is the future. digital innovation programs, investments to foster digital innovations. We see a lot of health tech startups today rising, and there are increasing interests and partnerships by pharma giants partnering with healthcare startups for innovative go-to-market models. And then we see hyper-personalization. It's estimated by a report of Microsoft that more than 1 billion people would need assistive technology, people who might be physically disabled and need some kind of assistance. That kind of technology by 2050 would be needed by more than 1 billion people globally. So hence you need to have services and customization across all segments and include all kinds of customers. And then the biggest challenge that all of us are working through right now and in future, that if that gets solved, that's the seamless experience part of it, which we are all looking at. Starbucks customer know that they can order online just before going, and they can pick it up, they can redeem their points and all of that. So they're trying to match, can create that seamless online and offline experiences. These were some of my examples, some of my learnings that I could bring apart from the regular work that we do. Of course, not diving too much into the platform and the data part of it. I have heard really good sessions since afternoon that I have been here. And hence, this was a slightly different take on 3 FAQs or 3 points to ponder that I would want to discuss and understand and learn from you as well. With that, thank you so much. That's my time.
I would request you to kindly stay on stage. And now I would request Ms. Janita James, Director Sales Development Unifor, to join us on the stage and felicitate Mr. Zenil Dumasya. Everyone, let's have a huge round of applause for Mr. Zenil Dumasya.